Hi everyone. So for this question, we are starting off with a square whose side is 1 unit. So side is 1 unit, this side is 1 unit too. So its area will be 1 times 1, which is equal to 1 unit, 1 squared unit. Then we are doubling the area of the square. So we are creating an area that is equal to 2 of these, basically. So it's kind of like we're tacking on another one, who's another square that also has an area of 1. So together, we've got 1 plus 1 on this side here. So I'm just going to do it up here. So this rectangle now, one side is 2 units and the other side is still 1. So the area is now 2 times 1 equals 2 units squared. So now we are trying to find a square or a rectangle that has 2 equal sides that has an area of 2. And how do we find the length of those sides? Well, we're going to use the same method that we used in the first example. So to start off with, let's start with the rectangle that we have here. Now, obviously that is not a square, but it's a good place for us to start. If we look at this rectangle that we have and we imagine a square with the same area, we can kind of picture that the side lengths of that square would be somewhere between 1 and 2 units. So let's say the average. So what's the average of 1 and 2? It's 1 plus 2 over 2, which is equal to 1.5. So let's make that our first guess. If we know that the area is 2 units, and we guess that the one side length, let's say A, is 1.5, what is the side length of B? Well, if we divide 2 by 1.5, we will get 1.3 repeating. So depending on how many decimal places your calculator goes to, you might see a longer or shorter number. I wrote down 9 decimal places, and they are all 3s. But it continues. So not a bad guess. Our side lengths A and B are kind of close together, but we definitely don't have a square yet. So we will continue in the same way we did for the first example by finding an average of our current A and B. So I'm going to add 1.5 to 1.3 repeating and find the average of those two. And I will get 1.41666 repeating. And in order to find the corresponding side B, I will divide 2 by 1.416 repeating, and I get 1.411764706. So these numbers are fairly close together, but I still do not have a square. As you can see, they're not exactly the same. One side length of this almost square is still a bit longer than the other. So I'm going to keep going until I am satisfied that I have 2 side lengths that are exactly the same, or at least I think I do. So you can pause the video and work out the next 2 lines and then restart. Okay, so let's continue. If you've done the next 2 lines, this is what you should have. And as you can see, it only took 4 lines for us to get 2 numbers that are exactly the same up to 9 decimal places. Now, if you have a pretty good calculator, you can see that the 10th and the 11th decimal places are actually not the same. And if you have a really good calculator and you keep going with this exercise, you will be able to see that no matter what you do, at the end there's always some decimal places that are not going to be the same as each other. So you will never get 2 numbers that are exactly the same. You'll never get 2 numbers that when you multiply them together, they equal to 2. And the only way that we are able to express that area or that side length is square root of 2. So there is no exact decimal approximation of the square root of 2. If we want to say square root of 2, we have to write it exactly like this. So if we have, if we do have a square that has two side lengths that are exactly the same, which is the definition of a square, and its area is 2, its side lengths will be square root of 2 and square root of 2, so that when you multiply them together, they equal to 2, and that's the area.